election next year.
And listen to this crowd. And then he walks away. Oh, loser.
So you were talking a little bit about the police, and a lot of people aren't too happy with different aspects of it right now.
Mm-hmm. That's true, John.
Do you think they're trying to be like all things to all people? Do you think they have to have such an expansive role in our community?
No. Well, here's the thing. I don't. And I really do believe that you can do some defunding of the police. I think a lot of it is wasted money. And it's very hard to do. Again, like I said the other day, it's like trying to grab oil out of fucking water. It's a lot of work because it's so ingrained and there's unions. But I actually read a good story on Reason this morning. And, a lot of these towns, small towns, big cities, are paralyzed by pensions. I think Los Angeles has $2 billion worth of pensions a year alone from the LA Police Department. So stuff like that, if you start moving that, and it's going to be hard to do. But in the future, if you get new people in there and you say, listen, the pension is not going to be as tasty. It's not going to be as deep. It's going to be something else. And then the money can be spent somewhere else. But the idea that you can defund entire police departments, like they're saying in Minneapolis. And I'm a libertarian, by the way. As a libertarian, I want police in my town, but I want them, I want it done properly, of course. But the idea that you can defund an entire police department, walk me through it. So we can play the sound later of this pathetic mayor in Minneapolis, this fucking loser. We'll play it later, so they get rid of the entire police department, right, guys? It's gone.
Right.
So in a house on whatever, Main Street or Minneapolis or wherever in Minnesota, where our guy just called from before, Oak Grove, Minnesota gets rid of their police department. Some husband, drunk, comes home from work, beats the fucking shit out of his wife, doesn't stop, and their twin 4-year-olds are there as well. Just beats the shit out of her.
Yep.
Who's going to stop that? And then decides, you know what? I'm going to kill the kids.
I think you'd have to have something called not the police.
Yeah.
You mean a not police? Was that the whole set for that joke, John?
I think we need somebody really who has the same skill set, but
sure, okay, but again, this is okay,
have
but
the same training.
But we're starting it, but you make it sound like we can just boom. As Mike Miniski once said, stroke a magic wand and make it whatever the hell he said that time. Strobe a wand and make it go away. You can't because like the idea. Okay, we're going to defund the police department tomorrow. We're going to get rid of them. Well, how are you going to do that when people have contracts and unions and it makes no sense. I mean, forget the insanity of, hey, I'm going to drive down the highway at 96 miles an hour drunk. Who's going to fucking stop me?
Who's enforcing the laws?
Right, like who's and if you want
courts,
give me again, like I always say, give me something that replaces it that's better for everybody. I'll sign up right now, but how are you going to do that?
I was asking Steve before the show. I was like, I guarantee the media is not going to report like how much crime goes up and all that. And Steve was like, well, there will be no one to
how are you going to know?
Statistics. We just won't know.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, what's a crime and how does a guy? So you defund the police department in Watertown, Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
And some guy comes in here and fucking shoots us up. Then what? Who arrests him?
The firefighters.
Who investigates it?
Right.
In all reality, it will probably be the state police having a much bigger presence in Minneapolis, which works against the whole idea of community policing.
How is that going to work?
Exactly. You're basically going to have a wider, more less local police force coming in to enforce local laws.
And how many people, including minorities, are out of jobs based on this?
So I always say, and I know people don't want to hear this. Most cops, I believe, and we had a good discussion the other day with Robert, but I believe most cops are good. And again, I have a different experience. So if you're some cop, you've worked 22 years, and whether you're black or white, whatever, you're a good, well-meaning cop who's done a lot of good things, and you're in Minneapolis. And I understand there's some assholes in that department. They're going to say to you, you're gone because why? Because
there was a police murder.
Yeah, because there's a hideous act by another police officer who I think is being tried for it. The entire country agrees. By the way, guilty before proven innocent is saying put this guy in jail for the rest of his life. We don't even if you polled America and said this guy have a trial, it would be 97% no.
Oh, they'd probably be in favor of just a public hanging.
Straight to execution.
Yeah.
So I mean, what else? And people are falling other than the president. People are falling all over themselves to try and say, hey, like we're listening. We are listening. We're all for moving things forward. Let's have conversations. But instead, it's just wild. I don't know. John,
the conversations racket, though, Kurt, that's the biggest thing going. Is everyone says they want to have conversations, but nobody does.
Why not? I do. Why not?
You're damn right, John.
What do you mean?
Your podcast, Jesus, you're not everybody.
No, but who is saying that they don't want if it makes things better and it makes things, you get rid of assholes in the police department, who is saying no to that, really?
Well, some conversations have people saying things that you don't want to hear, and if you don't want to hear them,
that's the other
listen?
thing. Well, yeah, I mean, there's, and that's the thing now is it's, if you have any, not even like a hardcore disagreement, if you have a minor disagreement with it, it's over. You're being shut down.
Yeah.
You're writing op-ed in the New York Times, gone. Everything's gone. All conversation gone. Everyone keeps asking for talk. John's right. Talk. And then when somebody says, well, what about like the idea that maybe burning down police stations isn't so great? What are you, racist? Fuck you talking about? Fuck you.
And the sad reality that they'll never come to grips with, that we have no control over, and people don't like to hear that, is that you'll never remove the idea that someone who's going to make arrests and uphold the law, that job will attract a couple of dicks.
Always.
There are going to be assholes that want to be cops or whatever this new thing you call them is.
Yep.
There are going to be assholes that want to do that. So and they're going to pass whatever tests we give them.
Well,
there might be assholes that are smart enough to rise to that level. So there's nothing we can do about that except vet them more.
So you were talking about state police pensions. Here in Massachusetts, we spend $40 million a year on pensions just for state police troopers first class. So it's like just a little over 600 troopers.
So we're talking, how much in total do you think we spend?
Oh, the pension system, it's going to be, billions.
And again, when they got in there, that was the deal. I have no problem with that. But I do. But now I think we have to say to these guys, we're going to spend that money somewhere else. That part of it, I'm comfortable with. I really am. I mean,
I think public pensions just need to go away generally.
I agree. Like, it doesn't, I'm not, I understand you have a tough job. You agreed to do it, and that was part of the deal. And now from here on in, but again, good luck having that fight with the unions. Can you imagine having that? I mean,
I think you just got to fire them. That's what it's going to be. If the unions won't agree to radical changes,
like
then
they
you
did
got
in
to fire
Camden,
them.
New Jersey. I mean, they got rid of them all, and it's gotten a little better, incrementally better. They've changed some of and I do think there's room for that kind of change. But when you get into they still loaded up?
They're still loaded up. They're still loaded up.
So in the city of Minneapolis, Minnesota, is it Fry?
Yes.
Jacob Fry.
Yeah.
It's the mayor in the town. This is the guy who, I'm just going to say it, was pretending to cry at Floyd's casket. I mean, it was just humiliating. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. So yesterday, right? There's a huge protest going on, and he shows up, and I think he thinks he's going to be treated like,
Well, he's a progressive guy.
Yeah, a god.
It's a good lib.
And the fucking protesters were having none of that. None of that.
Jacob Fry, we have a yes or no question for you. Yes or no, will you commit to defunding Minneapolis Police Department?
Abolition of it?
What did I say? We don't want no more police. Is that clear? We don't want people with guns toting around in our community, shooting us down. You have an answer? It is a yes or a no. It is a yes or a no. Will you defund the Minneapolis Police Department? All right, be quiet, y'all. Be quiet, because it's important that we actually hear this. It's important that we hear this, because if y'all don't know, he's up for re-election next year. He's up for re-election next year. And if he says no, guess what we gonna do next year?
Bizarre scene.
Louder, one more time. Loud and clear. Louder.
I cannot support a full defunding of the police department. So you've been knocked out. Listen to this crowd. And then he walks away. Oh, loser.
He has to walk through like 250 yards of protesters sat down. His shoulders are slouched
I
over.
just couldn't be Marty Walsh. I would give anything for that. I'd give anything for that.
To be fair to the mayor, I'm not sure that's a fair yes or no question. There's a little more.
It is.
I'm almost impressed that he didn't just say, yeah,
of
fuck
course.
it. Let's get rid of the police.
Well, because even when you're that insane, that is, he should have said to her, and you can't win. Well, he should have said, okay, I understand. I'm trying here to understand your anger. I really am. I pretended to cry at the funeral. I did all the appropriate things. What happens if X, Y, and Z goes on? How are we supposed? Give me some solutions. I'm telling you, offer me a better solution, and we'll try and make it happen. But if you're just going to say defund the police department tomorrow, and I think the Minneapolis City Council just voted to recommend.
Yes, they are going to start defunding it. It's veto proof.
Right now, are they going to defund it totally?
Yeah, that's
So
their
the city
plan.
of Minneapolis is going to have no police force.
See,
Maybe
the
sell
argument,
just a volunteer one. I don't know.
Oh,
the argument they kept
Now,
using
again,
is
sorry, Mike. From a libertarian perspective, I admire that in a way but if you have to have something ready to some.
They haven't gone that far though.
Nothing. They're just trying to.
It's just a raw
pretending.
emotional reaction.
Go ahead, Mike.
the argument people kept using is, well, it's not eliminating police, it's reallocating funds to different departments. So is that just bullshit? Or?
Well, I mean, they're talking about completely defunding it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's
So,
getting,
and
but you're
the
right, but like
reasoning
some
is not
city,
great.
no, and some cities are saying no. So like some cities are saying we're going to move the money here and there and defund it to some extent, which is, again, if you're doing it and moving this, fine. Like, unions drive me crazy. The police unions, especially, remember the story about and I think this was in the Reason story, somewhere else I read. Remember in the Parkland shooting? Remember the pathetic cop?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
The one who was
security guard?
cowering.
Union fought for him.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Union fought for that guy.
Yep.
And by the way, if there had been no video of Floyd, none, the union would have fought for this guy.
Oh, absolutely.
No
Yeah.
question about it.
I mean,
so,
you saw them fighting for the guys who pushed over the 75-year-old person in Buffalo,
Yeah.
and then something like a whole bunch of police officers just resigned in protest.
well, they resigned like a certain force. They didn't quit their jobs. Like
I see.
But I think 15 or 16 Minneapolis cops quit today, and 42 of them took early retirement.
Yeah.
Because like, what am I going to fucking do here again? And maybe fucking they're assholes. I don't know, but this just seems like no solution at all. Are they still loaded up?
And especially, yes, they're still loaded
well,
up.
thank you, Steve.
There's a lot of black cops, so you're gonna take away a black man's job.
Sure.
That's what I was saying earlier.
right.
It's like they're not taking into account how many jobs this is losing for minorities as well, and women as well. And
No, I mean, there's certain groups that they want, like, in their mind, in the other side's mind in this fight, like Candace Owens can't be heard from, right? Whether you agree with her, like we talked the other day, Robert Lee doesn't want.
Yeah.
The left doesn't want to hear from. It's in a black cop they don't look at as I guess in their mind somebody's on their side. I suppose I don't know. All right, go ahead.